All right. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to Reality Check here on Rolling Out. I, of course, am your host, Crystal Jordan, and I am so excited. I see some of you ladies are in the comments, very excited too, because our next guest is on, like, seriously, was one of the cast of my absolute favorite show, right? That show is over. Girlfriends is over. However, I'm going to try not to talk to Jill Marie Jones this entire time about Girlfriends. She's back to talk about an amazing new show I've been watching on OWN called Delilah. So I'm going to bring her on and first of all, let's give a warm welcome to our beautiful, beautiful guest for tonight, Miss Jill Marie Jones.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. First of all, your background is my absolute favorite. Like, you are perfectly centered,
Am I?
beautiful.
I was
All of it, the
trying, girl.
pictures.
I was trying.
Yeah, the black, the red lip. I'm loving the entire thing. You are
Oh,
just,
well, thank you.
it's an entire vibe. Welcome. We've been trying to have you here for so long. So I'm so excited to get you here. Like I said, you were on Girlfriend, which was probably my absolute favorite show ever.
Uh,
I think can you hear me? It's a little bit of an echo.
I hear you. Okay. Are you having problems hearing
Okay,
me?
no, we're fine. We're fine. Okay. But before we get into that, I want to talk about, you are here to talk about Delilah on OWN, which is a great show. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen between Tamara and Delilah. We've never seen a friendship really come to terms over work.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Delilah and Tamara, they've been knowing each other since junior high school, and life can throw bones at you, especially in friendships when you've known each other for that long, right?
Hmm.
But they've never been here before. And this season, our first season, it really challenges and tests our friendship. So hopefully we'll make it through. We have to see.
Well, we'll have to see. I think, and it's interesting that that relationship is so strong in other ways. We see that Tamara is really like ingratiated in Delilah's family. When she
Yes.
comes over to the house and sees the kids and she knows about the situation with her brother. She's really a part of that family. So this is like sister friends.
Oh yeah, it's beyond. It is a friendship, but it's more like like a sisterhood for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Absolutely. I believe Tamara was she was at the hospital with when both children were born. I mean, it's like a family for sure.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to ask you from Tamara's perspective because we know Tamara is this hotshot attorney who is dressed to the nines all the time. She's bringing it with style. But she has this great career and she seems like she's about to have it all. She just got the proposal, which was beautiful from what we saw once Delilah showed up and we were able to kind of get a glimpse of, what her boyfriend did to
He did
propose.
good, didn't he?
He did. I mean, the balloons and he went all the way in. That was beautiful. I was like,
Yeah.
I wish we got to see the whole proposal.
I know.
But it seems as though she's about to have it all. The high powered career, the man, the social life, the family. How do you think it's fair that she may have to make a decision between her career and her job and this lifelong sister friend?
You know what? That's a good question. I mean, what is fair? What does that even mean? I think for Tamara, she's been working at this particular law firm, which is the largest law firm in Charlotte, by the way. Tamara has a very nice office on a very high floor with a very nice view. The girl's doing her thing. Let's be very clear about it. Um, and she's worked it for 12 years, and she all the accolades and the things that are coming her way now, it should have happened before. So she's
Hmm.
deserving, and she knows that she's deserving, right? But then she has her best friend who's like family. It's hard. I really do feel like Tamara's between a rock and a hard place in a lot of ways. Where
Hmm.
Delilah, her name is on the door. She owns her firm.
Hmm.
Tamara, she works for someone. So you can push, but like, how far can you really push? Um,
Yeah.
but I do believe that Tamara is a ride or die friend. She's very
Mhm.
loyal. And she shows up, in her friendships. So yeah, it's tough for Tamara right now.
Yeah. I that was going to be my next question, was because she seems to have been able to figure out a way to navigate that workspace where she's the only female, it seems, for a large part. She's interacting with white males, and she's still very feminine, but you also see that she's no nonsense and she's great at what she does. How do you think your character has been able to find her place and be able to demand the respect, but yet still show up, as the Black woman that she is in that very, very corporate space?
That's another good question. And in a lot of ways, I'm still getting to know Tamara. Me as an actor, I like to start kind of like with a blank piece of paper. I try not to compare characters to another character.
Mm-hmm.
And, and as every episode um, that we've had, and not even just episode, but, week to week or episode to episode or day to day, I've learned more about her. And so I'm still somewhat learning. Um, I will say this about what you just asked. She definitely is a couple sprinkles of pepper and a sea of salt at
Mm-hmm.
that firm.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's something within itself, and the female aspect of it as well. So, it's interesting because I think oftentimes in life, one doesn't realize that they are that they've been given favoritism, that based on whether it be you are the woman here
Mm-hmm.
or you are that Black person here,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this season you'll see Tamara struggle with. I'm trying not to give too much away, but you'll see her struggle with her work life and that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I hope I answered your question. It's kind of hard because I'm trying not to give too much away,
Yeah.
but she definitely goes through something this season where you do see her evaluating her work life.
Yeah.
If that,
Well, we're only four episodes in, but it's a good sign that people are so vested already, in the characters and in the relationship. Speaking of being a pepper in a sea of salt, I'm a fan of yours because I love, obviously, Girlfriends and some of the other work you've done, but you're also a cheerleader, and from a long line of cheerleaders, I just think that it teaches, cheerleading teaches so much confidence, and just it allows girls to be a part of a sport. But you weren't just a cheerleader; you were one of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, which
yeah.
was the squad that had the stereotype for being the baddest, the most beautiful, the sexiest, and all this. And you were, obviously, things are changing, but at the time that you were, we didn't see a lot of Black girls, doing that. So how was that experience, and how has that experience helped to shape who you are as a woman now?
Yeah, I auditioned. It must have been a little over 1,200 and something women, young ladies. And I believe that year, normally around, say, 34 to maybe like 42 make it to training camp. And I believe that year it was 34 that made it to training camp, which 34 out of like over 1,200,
Yeah.
I felt pretty cool, right? Yeah, there were only three of us, Black women, that were on that squad that year. And it was really interesting in a, I don't know, and maybe I look back at it maybe in a sad way, because I before that I was in drill team at a school that was, predominantly Caucasian, and I was, an officer of that drill team, and I believe I was the first Black officer in the history of that at my high school. Um, and so, unfortunately and sadly, even thinking about it right now, it it was not a thing because it's kind of where I came from. But
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
looking at it, that's not okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
But thank you for that question though, because I never really thought about it. But I think from where I come from in sports and stuff from my high school and my past life before that moment. That's just kind of how it was. So it
Yeah.
seemed normal to me at the time. But what I will say, that's an incredible organization. It taught me so much. And I will say to anyone, travel is such an education. It really, truly is. A lot of people, even if you can't or you're not able to leave your city or your town or your community, you can leave there in books and in film, and there's
Hmm.
ways to be able to travel if you're not able to do that. But for me, um, I am, well, they introduced me to the USO and the DOD, and we've traveled all over the world, Egypt and Israel and Germany and all over South Korea, and just a lot of places. I've been very blessed to go in my life through that organization. That was what introduced me
Hmm.
to travel in that kind of way. And I have to say, I learned so much at a young age
Yeah.
about the world. So shout out to the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders for that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. If you guys are just joining, we are talking with actress Jill Marie Jones. We're talking about her new series, Delilah. We also asked a little bit about her cheerleading roots, and like I said, we would all be remiss if we did not ask her some questions about the ultra fabulous Tony Childs that
Oh,
she played so well for so long. Do you get tired of answering questions about that show?
not at all. Are you kidding me? That show changed my life.
Yeah.
I always say that I felt like I was in the University of Girlfriends. I learned so much from those actors, um, just the experience of it all, and also to sisterhood in this business. You
Hmm.
know, I understood sisterhood with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders because we were women all together all the time.
Hmm.
I personally, I have two brothers. I don't have sisters. But then in this business, to have like a sisterhood, and also too melanated sisterhood.
Yeah.
Um, that was beautiful to have. But yeah, yeah, never, never.
Well,
Sometimes
I wonder that because we
screaming
talked.
Tony to me, I say, yes, girl. But I answer to her, yeah, I get it.
Well, we talked to Golden Brooks a few months ago, and I think the reason that the show is hard for some of us to let go. I think it was when I was in college. It's just it was such a reflection of most of our lives, the interaction, amongst friends and the different personalities, but really trying to have a friendship and going through life and making mistakes and sometimes being wrong and it being okay to say, I mean, we saw so much. The show was really ahead of its time, you say?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness. We see it all the time. I mean, there was no social media when growing up
Right.
on, so that's a whole nother thing, right? But yeah, I look back at that show with such pride.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so
Mm-hmm.
proud of it, what we were able to do. And honestly, inside of it, we didn't really know what we knew that we wanted to do great work. We knew that we wanted to um, put out something into the world because you're making history. Like anytime you take a step forward, you're making history.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't know how it would affect the culture in that way. In a lot
Right.
of ways, we were in a bubble. But it's been so lovely to have people say, "I grew up watching Girlfriends." When you did X, Y, Z, or I'm a realtor because of.
Mm-hmm.
And what's awesome, and what I hope also too happens with Delilah, you'll have young girls or you know say, "I want to be a lawyer because I grew up watching Delilah." Or I want
Right.
to be a violinist because Kelly Jacobs' character, who is incredible, plays Maya, um,
Mm-hmm.
playing the violin. And so hopefully people are feel like they're being seen.
Right.
Representation is very important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That I think that you're absolutely right there. It and the great thing about Delilah is you see two friends, both that have the same educational background, but they're just following their passion in different ways. And so you see the big corporate lawyer, but then you also see Delilah following her passion. So I think that's great because it for so long it's been like one of us doing that thing, and it was like you said, like you're okay, this person is here, and then that was all we had. Even that experience. I grew up for most of my life in Oklahoma, so it was very natural just to be the only.
Cousins.
I say that so you know why I was so like, she's a Dallas Cowboy
Let
cheerleader.
me tell you something. I have so much family in Oklahoma. My mother is from Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Oh wow, okay. I grew up in
And
Tulsa.
you're from, okay. I literally always say, if you see somebody black in Oklahoma, tell them Jill says hi. It's probably my baby. We are deep in Oklahoma. Oh, that's so cool.
Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, I grew up in Tulsa, and being the only black girl here was never anything I even thought about. I remember going to an interview and being asked, was I uncomfortable being the only black one in public relations? And I said, I'm always the only black girl. Like that's, but now I look back on that and I'm like, that was very inappropriate for a white, boss to ask me in front of a white panel of people I'd be working with. How inappropriate, for them to put me on a spot like that. But that's not your reality when you grow up, and that is just, that's really what it is.
But then even going back to what I said about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and also to coming from a school that was predominantly Caucasian, doesn't it's kind of the same thing, that you were used to that type of environment, which is
Mhm.
it's not okay.
Right.
But I mean, to not have more of a diverse scenario when you're entering into these rooms.
Right. And I'm
Everyone
glad
says,
young people now have a very different reality, even, because you're able to see things. I went to University of Oklahoma, so there were plantation balls at my college, and that was just a normal. We didn't like it, but I mean, there was no social media, so what could you do,
yeah.
So that is a very real thing. But I think the culture is changing, one, because of social media, and so those pockets where there's not, I guess, integration are now people are able to see that's not right. But then things are just very different in a short period of time.
I believe so too. I see movement. We have a long way to go. Let's be very clear about that. But
Mhm.
I definitely, even in the industry, I see from where I began and where we are now. I mean, I want to say leaps and bounds, but that makes it sound like we are so much further. But I feel like we are, but also too, we have so much more,
Yeah,
so many
yeah,
more miles to go. But these youngins, man, I'm just so excited for them. I mean, they blow me away.
yeah.
That gives me faith in the future of our country, of this
Hmm.
world,
Yeah,
honestly.
there's so much power in the youth and the way they see things differently. So for you, I know that you've been producing. What do you want from your career? Because I think you're one of those actresses. Certain actresses, I guess our community is that way. We just kind of feel like you guys belong to us, right? So we're invested in what you're doing. We're watching and cheering you on when we see you taking on different roles and different things. What do you want from your career moving forward, with including this role, but even looking past that?
I write. I've been very fortunate to have sold a couple of things,
Hmm.
and I have a short that I'm getting ready to co-direct, something that I wrote. So I'm really excited about that.
Hmm.
Um, but I just want the opportunity. I'm an artist, man. I'm somebody who likes to jump into the dark, murky waters of a
Hmm.
complex situation in terms of art. I don't
Hmm.
like the easy route. I'm someone who goes off the sidewalk. I'm not really someone who jumps toward the pink bows of a story. So,
Hmm.
yeah, like today, my wants and desires are what they are, but then tomorrow they may change. I just want the opportunity for my art to be seen,
Hmm.
and however that comes, you know what I mean. I just
Hmm.
want the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I know we are in 2021, but 2020 is still not, it's hanging on in certain types of ways. We're not all the way back out yet. How did you kind of cope with everything that happened last year in terms of self-care and just making sure that you stayed sane through all the changes that we went through as a country and then again as a community last year?
Well, I'll be honest, it was tough. I mean, my story's not unique. Everyone was going through it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
um it was a range of emotions. I mean, there were times that I didn't even recognize myself, because I'm like, the anger that had built up, within
Yeah.
me was unrecognized, because I'm a pretty joyful person,
Mhm.
and it was just a lot. We just everything that we went through. And it was just like boom and boom and boom after another.
Mhm.
But I meditate. I
Okay.
mean, I found meditation in a real way. I mean, listen, LA, like I've been around, I've tried meditation before.
Right.
I had someone that they I had someone close to me, they were sick, and and then I took out time to make sure they were okay. And that's when it really stuck for me.
Mhm.
But every morning I meditate, every morning I pray, every morning I read my daily affirmations.
Right.
So I start out on the good foot. Now I don't
Yeah.
know what the day is gonna what's gonna happen throughout the day.
Right.
Meditation really got me through. And that's real.
Yeah.
It's tough. And
Yeah.
sometimes turning off the television and say, like, not this week. I
Yeah.
can't, you know.
Yeah. I had to turn off sometimes just turn social media off because it was, and I don't know if people realize how sometimes you can control your intake by just setting it down or just turning it off. It feels like you're engrossed in it, but you can actually like you control what images you allow. And sometimes it's okay to just be like, I
Yeah,
can't right now.
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Absolutely. I got a question about the roles that you've taken. Have you been specific about which types of roles that you've taken? I love the fact that you said you just like to jump in. I gotta say, I think you played, I can't say the hardest role, but you played a very complex role with girlfriends because that was the role that a lot of people love to. It was hard to like Tony at times. You saw, you guys introduced like therapy and girls friends going to therapy together. That was huge. But what types of roles do you look for now, or are you interested in now, or are you just kind of open to what comes your way?
I'm really open. I clearly love a strong, dynamic female character, clearly. And just going back on Tony Childs just for 2 seconds, if 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 people really, the fans of Girlfriends, if they really followed Tony's story like on a deeper level, you
Hmm.
would understand that her actions, most of her actions, it comes from insecurity. You know,
Yeah.
and she was a codependent friend. I mean, it's very clear if you really dig deep and you see it. As
Hmm.
fabulous as she is, and takes no prisoner, says what she wants to say, how she wants to say it. Um, but it stems from insecurity.
Hmm.
Um, she is a complex character, and that's what
Hmm.
made it fun, for me as an actor.
Hmm.
But yeah, I love those types of characters.
Yeah.
When I was in Ash versus Evil Dead, and I played Amanda Fisher, I had never been offered a role like that,
Hmm.
where I got to do MMA training and shoot guns and knock people
Yeah.
out so much, you know. And I just got to do all this my own stunts. I also too. I didn't do all of my stunts, but I got to do some of my stunts, and it was just so much fun. And I had never been offered a role like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just open. I just like badass characters, you know.
Yeah, I can see you playing. I could see you playing a action, like in an action movie, like that badass. I could definitely see you playing that. I saw that you playing in that role, but I thought you could definitely do that because you have this edge. It's like I'm not taking any stuff, and you could get physical, obviously. So that would be cool to see you in a role like that.
I love that. Thank you. I love that. But also too, I like the soft stuff too.
Hmm.
I love vulnerability. And one of the things that I love so much about about Tamara in the show Delilah, is that I can't speak for all female characters, or actors, but typically when an African American actress gets a part where she's a strong character,
Hmm. Hmm.
she's strong at work, she's strong at home. She's strong with her man. She's strong with the kids. She's just strong, 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 strong.
Right, right, right.
But that's not what life is. We're not
Mm-mm.
one-dimensional people. We're not
Right.
one-dimensional humans. And so with Tamara, I get to be tough, but also too vulnerable. I get to be soft, loving, and all those things.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love so much about playing Tamara.
Yeah, I think that's great because I think that's part of the problem. That stereotype is part of the problem that Black women do have an issue with accepting help and being vulnerable and going to therapy, because we're been told that you're supposed to be strong, 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 but that's just not realistic. So I love the fact that this character is strong when it comes to her job and her career, but you see her so loving with her now fiance, as she got in the last engaged in the last episode. You see her also very, very into her friend, and caring about what happened to her friend's brother. So I think that is great that we're starting to just see the reality. Like no one is the stereotypical bitch all the time. And if she is a bitch, there's a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking out so much time to hang out with us, but I cannot let you leave
Okay.
Jill Marie Jones without giving us some beauty tips, because you look
Oh.
the exact same, if not even younger, than you did when we first met you years ago. So please share with myself and the ladies watching some beauty tips that we can take with us. What's like your maybe top 3 go-to beauty tips that you would share?
Oh goodness. Well, first, I would say water. I drink about a little over. I drink over a gallon a day. Just drink a gallon, but I drink over a gallon of water a day.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm actually working, I can't do that because I'd have to use the bathroom too much.
Yeah.
That's not fun for any AD to
Yes.
to find where Jill is, right? But drink a lot of water, moisturize. But I have to say, my mother and my dad's in heaven now, but they have the best skin. So I think part of that is a lot of that is genetic. But I would say moisturize, vitamins, rest. People
Yeah.
don't realize, and I'm an insomniac, and sometimes I just really have to. And I love a television in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Please don't tweet me about it. All right. I know it's bad, but it's like turning off the television and just,
Yeah.
and there's amazing apps, by the way. The Calm app. There's some
I love
apps,
the Calm app. I have that.
right?
Yeah.
It really does work, and so
It does. It
you help
does.
go to sleep. But I would say rest, water, just like basic things,
Basic common sense stuff. And then you just
and
got
rest.
the genetics going, right?
You said what?
I said basic common sense and good genetics.
Oh, well, yeah. Shout out to my mom and my dad for sure.
Yeah.
And also too, meditation. If you're not into it, maybe try because whew, it was life changing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Did you start slow, or did you start slow with how long you did it, or you just kind of jump in and focus on it?
Well, again, like just being in LA, I have a lot of friends who like I tried it, and I was starting to think about all the things I need to do that day. Like
Right,
I
right,
couldn't quiet my mind, right?
right.
But yeah, it started out pretty. When I started back again, um, it was slowly. It's like I was like a turtle in it. I was just
Yeah.
like just little moves forward, and sometimes, I mean, I was so excited when I got to a minute
Right.
because
Right.
a minute was like woo.
Right. No, I'm glad because I remember when I first started, I was like, am I the only one whose brain won't shut up?
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's so hard,
Yeah.
But yeah, that though I would say just the basic stuff.
Yeah.
And I know I do these silly videos and stuff like that, but dancing really does bring me joy.
Yeah.
It makes me happy. It takes me back to a place, a childhood place, my inner
Hmm.
child that
Hmm.
was just happy and free. And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of people think I do these videos. I don't know why they think I do them. Like I am a goofy person. Let's be very clear about it. But really, it's self-serving. It just really brings me joy.
Yeah. Well, keep doing that. We appreciate you so much. Please let people know before you go where they can see Delilah if they're not already watching.
On OWN, and we are on Tuesday nights, 8, 9 Central. And this week, I'm not sure if we're doing a repeat episode, but we'll be back on, I believe, the 16th with new
Okay.
episodes. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys go ahead and get caught up. You can see the
Yes.
first 4, because I got a feeling that we're at a transitionary period where there's going to be some changes coming. This has been building up, and now we see the changes are coming once you guys come back. Thank you so much, Jill Marie, for hanging out with us on Reality Check. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
All right. Well, you guys don't move. Don't move. I have a special interview coming up for you right after this. We're doing reality check back to back on Monday. We had Jill Marie Jones. Stay tuned for the beautiful songstress Leela James. She's coming right up right now. So stay right where you are. Tune right back in. This has been Rolling Out Reality Check, and we're coming right back.